And so Thomas Merton has this brilliant, lovely book called The Way of Chuang Tzu, which um, in essence is a translation of many of his poems and reflections and basically meditations on the Tao. And there's this lovely piece that I came across. I've read this book many times, and whenever I look at it again, I find things that I had forgotten were in there because I read it a long time ago. And sometimes you'll go back and read a scripture or a text years later, and you'll be seeing it with fresh eyes. And that's what happened with this one. So it ultimately has a very kind of Buddhist tone to it. Um, the title is called Action and Non-Action. In the Taoist philosophical sphere, there is this notion of wu wei, which means actionless action or effortless effort. Um, and so this action and non-action is really kind of an honoring, a celebration of wu wei, which is the quality that we seek to cultivate, certainly in meditation, but also in response to the world. That we respond to things, but our actions are very intentional, they're very mindful in that sense, almost as if there's no effort at all, and yet we can still respond and do things. So it's that sort of easy, fluid, non-effort quality in action. Um, my teacher Leslie was an artist, is an artist actually, and used to talk to us about her painting, how she would go into what's called samadhi, this state of uh, sort of absorption of consciousness, the sort of the dissolution of the self, and opens up to sort of the great unified consciousness that she would then go and then paint paintings, and they're incredibly unbelievable paintings. When I was visiting with her last a few years ago in Santa Fe, she had a whole new slew of them, and just remarkable. So anyway, this kind of inspiration coming from a state of really being deeply present and mindful in an open, kind of almost luminous way, and then not just sitting quietly with that, but putting it into action in some way. So that's often the practice that we're instructed to do at some point, is to take that experience on the cushion and either do a walking meditation or doing something creative, something inspiring. Maybe it's writing poetry, whatever it is, to learn how to bridge the gap between the meditative state and actually acting in the world, being in the world. Eventually, we can do this when we're talking to others, when we're sitting and listening to someone talking to us. So basically, it's that state of non meditation, of taking it off the cushion and being really present in the world, and yet not losing the good stuff, right? Not losing that kind of quality of openness and quiescence. So anyway, so here is Zhuangzi's action and non-action. The non-action of the wise person is not inaction. It is not studied. It is not shaken by anything. The sage is quiet because he or she are not moved, not because they will to be quiet. Still water is like glass. You can look in it and see the bristles on your chin. It is a perfect level. A carpenter could use it. If water is so clear, so level, how much more the spirit of humanity? The heart of the wise person is tranquil. It is the mirror of heaven and earth, the glass of everything. Emptiness, stillness, tranquility, tastelessness, silence, non action. This is the level of heaven and earth. This is perfect Tao. Wise people find here their resting place, and resting they are empty. From emptiness comes the unconditioned. From this, the conditioned, the individual things. So, from the sage's emptiness, stillness arises. From stillness comes action. From action comes attainment. From their stillness comes their non-action, which is also action, and is therefore their attainment. For stillness is joy. Joy is free from care, fruitful in long years. Joy does all things without concern. For emptiness, stillness, tranquility, tastelessness, silence, and non-action are the root of all things.